Okay, so today we're going to continue looking at dividing polynomials, and we're going to focus more on synthetic division. So we can use synthetic division to divide polynomials if the divisor is in the form x minus c. So it has to be a linear expression. So I'm going to scroll back real quick and look at this previous example. Here we were dividing by a quadratic, this 3x squared minus 2x. We cannot do synthetic division. Okay, you would have to do long division for something like that because it's a quadratic. All right, so scrolling back, I went ahead and gave you the steps from your book to divide a polynomial. So we're gonna kind of go through those as we do this example. So arrange the polynomial in descending powers with a coefficient of 0 for any missing terms. So we have 5x cubed plus 6x plus 8. So it's in order, but we are missing a term. So I'm going to rewrite this as 5x cubed plus 0x squared plus 6x plus 8. And then write c for the divisor x minus c to the right. Or sorry, so here we solve for c. We're going to take x plus 2 equals 0. If we solve for x, we get -2. Okay. -2 is your c value. So that's what's going to go on the outside. We always have to be careful that we put that c value with changing the signs. Okay, so to the right of our little box, we're going to write just the coefficients of our polynomial. So we have 5x cubed, 0x squared, 6x, and 8. And then I go ahead and do another little box to show that this is where your remainder is going to be. Okay. All right, so write the leading coefficient of the dividend on the bottom row. So I'm going to draw an arrow. We're going to bring down that 5. And now we're going to multiply c, remember this is our c, times the value that you just wrote in the bottom row. So -2 times 5 is -10. And we're going to write the product in the next column in that second row. And now we're going to add. So 0 plus -10 is -10. And then we're going to repeat. So -2 times -10 is 20. Add those together. 6 plus 20 is 26. And then repeat. -2 times 26 is a -52. 8 plus -52 is a -44. And that shows us our remainder. So now we need to write our answer. Okay. We're always going to rewrite this. And we're going to go from 5x cubed. And we're going to drop it down an exponent or a degree. So this becomes 5x squared minus 10x plus 26. And then we have our remainder. So plus -44. And then what did we divide by? X plus 2. And there is your quotient. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next one. X squared minus 6x minus 6x cubed plus x to the 4th. So start off with rewriting them all in order. So we have x to the 4th minus 6x cubed plus 0x squared minus 6x. And we're missing our constant, so I'm going to go ahead and write plus 0. And then here we're dividing by x plus 6, which means that our value for c changed the sign, so it becomes -6. So that's what's going to go on the outside. So we have -6. Make your little box. So we have 1, -6. Oops, that should be a 1x squared. Sorry about that. Not 0x squared. So 1 and then -6, 0. And then make your box for your remainder. All right, so we're going to drop down the first term, 1. Multiply, -6 times 1 is -6. Add, -6 plus -6 is -12. Then multiply, -6 times -12 is 72. 1 plus 72 is 73. And then multiply. So -6 times 73 is a -438. -6 plus -438 gives us a -444. And -444 times -6 gives us 2,664 plus 0 is 2,664. Okay, so if we rewrite this with our solution, we go from x to the 4th, lower a degree, we get x cubed. I'm gonna go ahead and write that 1 with it. So 1x cubed minus 12x squared plus 73x minus 444 plus 2,664 divided by x plus 6. And there is your solution. Okay. All right, so we have a couple of theorems that we can use with synthetic division. So first one we have is the remainder theorem. This says if the polynomial f of x is divided by x minus c, then the remainder is f of c. So given f of x equals x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x plus 3, use the remainder theorem to find f of 2. So let's go ahead and kind of check this. So let's start off with our synthetic division. We're going to use 2 as our c value. We have 1, -4, 5, 3. Bring down our 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. -4 plus 2 is -2. 2 times -2 is a -4. 5 plus -4 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. And 3 plus 2 is 5. So this is our remainder. So what the remainder theorem says is if we evaluate this function, so we find f of 2, we should get 5. So let's check that. So we have 2 cubed minus 4 times 5 squared plus 5 times 5. Oops, how about 5 times 2? And then plus 3, which means this should be a 2 as well. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so let's evaluate. So 2 cubed is 8 minus, so 2 squared is 4, times 4 is 16, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3. 8 minus 16 is a -8. And 10 plus 3 is 13. -8 plus 13 is 5. And that checks and is the same thing as what we got as a remainder when we did synthetic division. All right, so the last thing we can do is the factor theorem. And I'm actually going to save this one to do in class, so that way if you have questions on it, you can ask. But if you want to start it, we want to solve the equation 2x squared minus 3x squared minus 11x plus 6 equals 0. We know that 3 is a 0 of the function. So we can start off the problem by doing synthetic division with a c value of 3. Okay. So go ahead and do that part. And then we will talk about where we can go from there to finish solving this equation.